guys, it's Janelle from Steamy Vegan Kitchen. Hope you guys are having a great day. I really didn't want to film a video today because I'm just like really tired. I had a really couple hard workouts and I'm exhausted, and I couldn't make up my mind on like what dish I wanted to film today. And I'm like behind schedule for this week, and I knew I needed to film something, but I just couldn't decide. So I decided I'm not gonna film a meal, I'm just gonna film something else. And then I remembered that I have a whole bag of scraps in my freezer, veggie scraps, because I save them to make vegetable broth. Like, I don't know, maybe once every month or month and a half. Depends on how fast I go through veggie broth, but decided that's what I'm gonna do today, and I thought I'd show you guys how to make your own veggie broth that's vegan and gluten free, and it costs almost like $0 to make because you're using veggies you already paid for and that you probably weren't going to use again, that you're going to throw in your garbage or your compost if you compost, which I do. So I'm going to show you guys what I do and how easy it is to make it in this really like choppy, whipped up, thrown together video that I'm putting together in my sweatshirt. I am literally wearing my pajamas. My hair is wet from my shower. My hair is not done. I'm not wearing any makeup. Don't look at me. And my kitchen's a mess. You can clearly see I have like bags of produce in a tipped over bowl. Actually that's not produce. Those are just like pantry items that I haven't unloaded since yesterday. So yeah, I'm behind on life today, but whatever, we're just gonna work with it. So here is how to make veggie broth. So I have a big giant pot of water boiling. I also boiled a little bit extra in my kettle in case I needed more. And I'm gonna be making my stock in my big ass, like huge stock pot. We need 1 onion. We're gonna grab some garlic. Let's do like 4 cloves of garlic. Chop that garlic and onion. Does not have to look pretty. Also, you can save your scraps from your garlic and onion because that can go right into the stock pot. Open. Here we have it. Okay, this is a big boy. So I don't know how many liters, but you can see it's huge and it's almost full. I'd say it's about 3/4 full. You definitely don't need a bag this big, but okay, let's see what I've been saving. Whew, it smells like veggies. Probably got some kale stems, red onion, bell pepper scraps, lots of carrot and sweet potato peels in there, bok choy, some herbs that started to go wilty. I can definitely smell the dill in there. You can probably see at the bottom, potato peels or something. Celery. Tip, only use scraps that have been washed thoroughly. You don't want to have dirt sitting in the bottom of your veggie broth because that would be gross. But use whatever you want, and I've actually even have some fruit in here, not a lot. I think I only ever saved apple cores from apples that I cut, not the ones that I put in my mouth because saliva. Because that might add just a little bit of sweetness to your broth, and maybe not because there's really not that much in here. I'm also going to add some fresh herbs from my indoor garden. So this is my indoor garden. It's called the I Harvest and I love it. I have growing some arugula, some Italian parsley, and I have lots and lots of thyme. So I'm probably gonna take a few sprigs of thyme, some parsley, and I'm probably gonna leave my basil for my pesto. This will just add, a little bit more flavor to your broth. It's totally optional if you don't have herbs or you don't want to go and buy herbs just for your broth. I do not blame you. It's just if you have any leftover herbs or you are growing some and you don't mind sparing a bit for your broth, then I definitely recommend. The water has boiled, so now I'm just going to heat up this pot on like medium heat. Let me reiterate, when you're saving your scraps, only put clean scraps, not bits of, ends or tops of carrots that have any slime on them or anything that's like super dirty or anything you've had to discard because it had mold on it. That's obvious. You definitely wouldn't be saving that. Just make sure they're not like gross, okay? Like onion peels, even the outside of the onion's fine because they still have flavor. As long as it's not dirty, rotting, or moldy, it's fair game. Also, if you were wondering how long it took me to save all this, honestly, it took me like a month. I'd say a good 4 weeks or so. I go through a lot of scraps. So yeah, this is about a month's worth of saving. Okay, I'm just gonna add a little bit of oil. I'm just using avocado oil. You can use whatever you want. Vegetable oil or a little bit of olive oil is fine. Just a couple tablespoons. So saute these down, the garlic and onion, about 5 minutes. Okay, I can't get too close or else the lens is gonna fog up, but here we go. We're ready to move on to the next step. Grab your scraps, which is a big giant bag. And carefully, I probably should not be doing this with one hand, but then once your stuff is sauteed, you can dump the whole bag right into the stock pot, like so. Okay, and then add in your water, big pot of water, until all the veggies have been completely covered. Okay, so now the scraps have just enough water to cover them, and a little more. I think I might want just a little bit more water on that, so excuse me while I navigate through my messy kitchen. Just gonna add a little bit more. I actually really want to have a lot of broth. Okay, next I'm going to take some herbs that I took from my indoor garden. I've got some thyme and I've got some parsley. I'm just gonna lay that on top. I also have some black peppercorns. I'm gonna take, this is like half of a tablespoon. That sounds about good. I'm just going to stir those in. Why not make it a little more? I'm also going to add just a little bit of ground turmeric just to give it a little bit of that golden brothy color. And I'm also going to add probably about a teaspoon of salt. Give everything a really good stir. What can you see in my veggie scraps? Oh look, more bok choy. Is that an orange peel? No, I would not have seen an orange peel. Got some bell pepper heads with the seeds included because the seeds have flavor, yo. Oh yeah, there's an apple core right there. Got some red onion. Goodies, this is fun. Oh yeah, oh another apple core. Wow, there's a few in here. Lots of onion tops. There's nothing that I did not use. Oh, got some mushroom stems. It's good stuff, man. You can add tons of stuff to this if you really want to add some extra flavor. Let's see, you could add some more like dry herbs. You could add some like red chili flakes to give it a little bit of heat. But I tend to want my veggie broths to be neutral tasting, if you get what I mean. So this will have enough flavor in it as it is. I'm just going to turn this back up to a boil. And once it reaches a boil, turn it down to a simmer and let it simmer for about 30 minutes. And we'll come back. Also, I just rinsed out my scrap bag because I'm going to reuse it again, and you should too, because we need to save the planet. So please reduce as much waste as you can and reuse your plastic bags when you can. Okay, so it's up to a nice little boil. Not too boily, but a simmer. So I'm going to turn it down to low and just let it simmer. This has been trying to reach a boil now for about 15, I'd say almost 20 minutes. So I'll let this simmer for probably another 20 to 25. I have found that if you let this simmer for too long, then it actually gets kind of bitter, which you don't want to have, because then you have to add some sort of sweetener to get rid of the bitterness, which you just don't want to have to do. So taste it every maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and if the flavor is pretty strong and intense, but if you like it that way, then I would say you're good to take it off the heat and let it cool for a bit. If it's kind of weak, you can let it simmer for a little while longer. You can even take the lid off so that it reduces down and the flavors get stronger. I'm gonna check back on this in about 15 minutes. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes since my last update, and I just tasted it, and honestly, it's kind of weak still. So I'm gonna let this keep going for, I don't know, probably another 15 minutes. I'm also gonna add a little bit of salt because I just feel like it's lacking a little bit. So I'm gonna do that. I might even add a bay leaf because I forgot to do that. I don't know if it's gonna make much difference at this point, but we're gonna give it a try. That's not one, that's like 3, but that's okay. We're gonna add that. And I also actually just put in a few grinds of black pepper because I also forgot that, which is probably why it also doesn't taste yummy yet. So I just tasted it. It's been about 15 more minutes. So I'd say in total, this has been on the stove for about 45 minutes, and it tastes good. So I'm going to show you what to do next. So this is my little setup for the next step. Ooh, if you could smell this right now, my whole house smells amazing. On my counter, I have my big stock pot on a, what's that, a trivet? And in the sink, I have probably the largest bowl I have, a big metal bowl that's heat safe, plus a strainer. I'm just gonna use a ladle and strain out all the solids into the strainer so that all the juices fall into the bowl, and just repeat until all the solids have been removed from the big pot and all the liquid is now in the big bowl. So just do this until there's no more scraps left in your stock pot. Ah! Also, you can wait until the broth has cooled a bit. I literally took this right off the pot and just got going, but if you want to wait until it cools, that is fine. Okay, so the stock pot is now empty. Everything has been strained, so the solids are in an empty pot. Whew, that's steamy. All the broth has been strained into a large bowl, and here's what you do next. Okay, time for the fun part. So carefully lift your bowl from your sink onto your counter. Again, you can wait until it's cooled down. As you can see, mine is clearly like still piping hot, but I'm just gonna go for it. So I have a handy little funnel. If you don't have one, that's okay. It's not the end of the world. Your job might be a little bit messier and you're pretty much guaranteed to dribble some broth on your counter, but that's no big deal. So basically, you have all your jars. I don't know if I'm gonna need to fill up all these jars. I guess we'll kind of see. It's a bit of a guessing game. I never really know exactly how many jars of broth I'm going to have, but we'll see how many I fill up, and I might need to grab more, or I might not use all of them. So pick your jar, put your funnel in, take your ladle, and maybe move it as close as you can to the bowl, and just start, start ladling in the liquid carefully until you have almost reached the top of your jars. I'm planning on freezing most of these. One thing you have to be careful about when you're freezing your broth is that if you have your broth too close to the top, this will expand when it freezes and you could crack your jar if this doesn't really have enough room above to expand. So I always leave a good inch of space between the fill line and the top. For jars like this that have like the curve, I wouldn't fill up anywhere past the curve, again, because you want it to be able to expand. If you filled up to here, it might crack on this curved part. Look at all that broth. I did need to get one more jar because I had much more than I thought I would. So there you have it. I have like eight jars of broth or something like that, 9. It is so much cheaper to make your own broth, guys. Broth is not cheap. So if you plan to freeze any of this, what I would do first is to let them sit in your fridge overnight. Put the lids on them, not too tightly, just like a loose, just like a loose tightness, and let them completely cool in the fridge overnight. The reason you want to do that is so when you put them in the freezer, there's not going to be like a stark hot to cold interaction, and that could cause your jars to break. So let them cool before you put them in the freezer, and then I would say if you need to use them, take them out like a day before you need them, because it takes about that long to thaw them out. Seriously? Hair is just not cooperating. Okay guys, well, I hope you enjoyed watching this video, my very sloppily put together video in my messy kitchen. I hope you guys go ahead and make your own veggie broth. It's so much cheaper. Saves you money, and this way you know exactly what's going into your veggie broth. Just some veggie scraps, a little bit of salt and pepper, and some herbs. I hope you guys have a great day, and let me know if you have any questions about making your own veggie broth. I will answer them in the comments below. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and if you loved it, please go ahead and poke that subscribe button and hit that notifications bell so you never miss one of my videos. And that's it. Have an awesome day, guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!